I'm Rania Abdullah. I'm from Jordan. I live in Israel now. I'm in the international MPH program. I only started this summer, which means this is my second course. I'm a physician. I'm a doctor. I work in public health in child and maternity centers or stations, and I'm here.
Nice to see you.
Thank you. Okay, Saudi Arabia. You know, Saudi Arabia is the.
Those are the buttons. Okay.
Okay. Saudi Arabia, as we all know, is located in the Arabian Peninsula. It's the largest country in the Arabian Peninsula. Area-wise, it is surrounded, I'll say that later, but we all know that it is the birthplace of Islam, where some 1400 years ago, more than a little bit over 1400 years ago. This is the flag of Saudi Arabia, and this is only for fun. Show how Trump, the skills of Trump. The foundation of healthcare, I will start with that. The foundation of healthcare actually started in 1925. This is King Abdulaziz bin Saud. He's the first one who thought that there should be a health system, because in the religion of Islam, when the state of Islam was evolving and growing bigger, it's one of the, let's say, the Islamic life or the Islamic system. It's in the Islamic system. It's mandatory for the state to provide everything for the people, and this comes through so many channels. But I'll talk about this later. I just want to say that King Abdulaziz bin Saud started his idea because of the whole idea of pilgrimage. We all know that Kaaba, or the Holy Mosque, is situated in Mecca in Saudi Arabia. It's where Prophet Muhammad was born, and we all know that pilgrimage is one of the 5 pillars of Islam. It's mandatory for everyone to do pilgrimage once in a lifetime, only for those who meet the criteria of doing pilgrimage. So it's considered a great honor for the country to serve these pilgrims. That's why this is the thing he thought about, and that's why he started the whole idea of healthcare. So KSA, it's a hereditary monarchy. It started with the tribe of Saud, and they named it after themselves, of course. It was first established in 1744, but the country was only made in 1932. The government system consists of the king, who is also the prime minister, who is also the chief of state, he's also the head of government, the military commander. He's too busy to care for his own people, the bottom line. So he's everything. The legislative branch is the Consultative Council, which is called in Arabic, and in the Islamic terminology, it's called Majlis al-Shura, which consist of the heads of tribes mainly, who used to come together and decide what to do for the whole community. Majlis al-Shura is now they used to be 60. Now they have to be 150 people who are assigned by the king himself. So it goes back to him. The judicial branch is according to the Islamic law, as we said, and the oil discovery was not until 1935, where the whole magic happened. I don't think this is a real picture. This is as close in topography as the real one. Saudi Arabia. Okay, I'm not going to use that. This is Saudi Arabia. You can see that the topography is really different. We have a series of mountains here, and here, this is what they call the Ruba al-Khali, which is the empty quarter. There's nobody who's living there. So Saudi Arabia is a vast country, but the light is mainly the distribution of population. Mainly it's Riyadh, which is the capital, Dammam, and Najran, I think. If anybody knows, this is Qatar, with all the dispute around it now. And this is Bahrain. This is a little one, so you can compare and see how big it is. So, KSA, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, is in Asia, located in Asia. It's the largest country in the Middle East. Total land area is a little bit above 2 million square kilometers. Riyadh is the capital, and it's kingdom of absolute monarchy. And the king is the ruler and the governor. The government. The official language is Arabic, although we will learn that there are almost 1/3 of the population is foreigners. That's why many languages are used there, the native languages of the foreigners. And many of them come with, and they don't know anything in Arabic, and we'll learn about that later, but mainly it's Arabic. The currency is the Saudi Riyal, as you see. And the desert is, the climate is the desert climate, which is extremely hot in the day and extremely cold in the night. This is only to show you, someone made this. The temperature is 57, and this is quite bearable. I had my cousin who sent me a video a couple of days ago that shows that the thermometer shows 79 in the sun. So someone made that. This is an actual picture of someone who put an egg and it got fried. Okay. The population is a little above 32 million. 1/3 of them are non-nationals. They are primarily nomads and Bedouins. They are a bunch of tribes that got relocated and got urbanized over the time. Now it's almost 90% of the population is urbanized, mainly in Riyadh, Jeddah, and Dammam. Jeddah, not Najran, and Dammam. Typically, they are deeply religious, they are conservative, they are traditional, and family-oriented. They respect their elderly very much, and this is, of course, custom dictated. I have to say that it's very unusual, but it's very well accepted in Saudi Arabia that there is a committee called, in Arabic, Al-Amr bil-Ma'ruf wa Nahy anil Munkar, which is something religious, that these are people who are, they are not government employees, but they are just people who think that they should apply the laws of Islam. So if he sees something that doesn't, he sees that it doesn't go with Islam, he can act on it. And if he sees me dressed like that, I think he might pull I don't know, he might do something to me. So it's kind of ridiculous, but it's the case there. And nobody says anything, it's quite acceptable. 85%, now it's 90% of the population is urbanized. Arabs comprise 90%, Afro-Asians 10%. The Islam is the main, of course, the main religion there. Non-Muslims comprise 10%. I have to say that non-Muslims, most of them are people who are foreigners who work in the country, and usually they live in compounds, very lavish compounds, very much, and they can do whatever they like, and they can go out without the headscarf on. But whenever they're out of the compounds, they just have to go with the flow. Sunnis, if you are familiar with the sectors of Islam, Sunnis, they comprise 85% Shiite, they comprise 15%, and they are affiliated with Iran, of course. 12ers, Zaydis, this is not important. The population density in Saudi Arabia is 15 per square kilometer. The US has a 36 person per square kilometer. The median age is 28.6. Life expectancy is 73 for men, 76 for women, of course. This is the distribution of age. 51% are under 25. This is a really young population. 2/3 of them are under the age of 30. And this shows you where the population is located mainly. This is Riyadh. This is Mecca. Here is, I think, somewhere here is Dammam. This is called Abha. This is a city called Abha. I just want to tell you for fun facts, so you can just concentrate a little bit with me. Abha is a city where my father first moved there. It was in 1968. And as you remember from the picture that I showed you, there's a series of mountains here. So he used to tell me that it was so the topography was so hard that they had to lower them with ropes to Abha or somewhere near at the beginning of the academic year and pull them out at the end of the year. So yeah, we had fun. We had fun days. Economic data, it's a high income country, of course. The GDP is 646.5 billion, and this is in 2016. Per capita it's 39 plus thousand US dollars. The healthcare is about 4.7% of the GDP, which is quite low for a country like this. Total expenditure on health per capita is $2,466. Okay, as we all know, petroleum is the main exportation. Petroleum sector accounts for 80% of the budget, for 45% of total GDP, and 90% of export earnings. 90%. The main industries there are almost all related to oil, except for construction and aircraft repair, and the imports are basically everything. They import almost everything. And the most important thing is their vehicles. And where from? The United States. They love these navigators and these huge vehicles. And that's why, okay, I'll talk about that later. I want to take an overview on health system. The Ministry of Health was established in 1950 with 11 hospitals and 25 dispensaries. In 1970, there were already 74 hospitals. In 2002, 331 hospitals. It ranks at 26 out of 190 countries worldwide. The total expenditure is 5%. The government pays 60%, and the private comprises of about 27%. They have 1.37 physicians per 1,000 and 2.1 hospital beds per 1,000. This is the logo of the Ministry of Health. And do you find anything interesting in this picture?
They're wearing pants, maybe?
No, they don't show
No,
their
they're not
hands.
Arab.
No, they are not.
Arab.
They are from Southeast Asia, that's right. Most of the workforce in the KSA is from Southeast Asia, and we'll learn about that a little bit more. Okay.
Yeah.
No. Okay. So it's an overview. So the Ministry of Health, it provides and finances the healthcare by 60%. It's responsible for the delivery of care. It's responsible also for regulation, both for governmental and non-governmental or private sector, including medical devices, pharmaceutical products, drugs, and price control over the private sector. I was going to talk about zakat, which is the main, which is Islamic funding welfare, and it provides a huge part of the healthcare in many of the areas that I highlighted here. I just want to say 2 words about the zakat. The zakat is also a pillar of Islam. This is one of the 5 pillars of Islam. It's mandatory. It's not charity. It's not. It's everyone is obliged to pay the zakat, and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is one of the few countries in the Arab and Islamic world that collects it from all the people, from all the population. So it's mandatory and it's on everybody. The amount of zakat that is collected every year can really cover the deficit, maybe in the whole Arab world. State employees in Saudi Arabia, they have the best health care. It's all for free, and they have their own hospitals. They have there is an out-of-pocket percentage of out-of-pocket for people who want to have extra services. There are fees, co-payments sometimes for these people also, but this is for a little bit more if they want a little bit more from the healthcare or the services, I will also explain that later. Experities, they buy private insurances, but this has changed a little bit. There were about more than 1.5 million illegal immigrants or illegal residents, not residents, illegal people in the kingdom. And now, since 2007, they are included in the healthcare system. I'll go over this quickly. Ischemic heart disease is the leading cause of death. This is the burden of disease. I just want to note that road injuries, they are the fourth cause of death among strokes, lower respiratory infections, and then road injuries. This is a big issue, and I think these numbers are even higher than that because Saudis are known to be notorious drivers, and this is a real public issue that they are trying to solve and trying to raise the awareness about it, but it's just not. It's still not successful, let's say that. The burden of disease, cardiovascular disease, neuropsychiatric conditions, and other non-communicable diseases. You can look at it later. I'll send you the presentation. I'm not going to talk about all this, but I just want to show you that here, total expenditure on health is really rising, and this is because of the privatization of many of the governmental institutions. I want to note also that the immunization of DTP, measles, they are on the rise. They're even higher than that of the WHO. Births, women tend to give birth in hospitals. It's 98%. It's a really, really good percentage, but antenatal care is almost zero. And this is not because they don't have the facilities, it's because of lack of awareness.
Lack of what, sir?
Awareness. They don't, I think, they think if they go to the doctor and they get their pressure checked and anything, they think it's good enough, but they need more awareness, and it's on the rise. Road traffic accidents, deaths are also on the rise. Road traffic accidents, I think they comprise much more than what was seen in the slide before. This is just to see also the causes of death. You can see that most of it is cardiovascular, but there is a considerable amount of non-communicable diseases among male and females. Risk factors, okay. This is interesting. Population using improved water and sanitation, almost 100%. They have access to fresh water, to clean water and sanitation. I'm not going over this. This is something quick, just to show you that there are resources, there is money, but there's not enough awareness. I mean, look at that. National Child Restraint Law enforcement is graded as 1 out of 10. National seatbelt enforcement is only 8, and the seatbelt wearing rate is even not, it wasn't calculated, or there was not enough data. Enforcement of national motorcycle helmet law, they all ride without helmets. And they have 6.5 million vehicles. I believe it's much more. It's only, maybe it's because of one reason, that women don't drive in the KSA. Front and rear seat belts required all imported cars, yes, but front and rear seat belts required in all new cars, there's no data about it. So there's a lot to do here, and I'm not going to go through all this, but this is only to show that really the thing about cars and how they love their cars and how they abuse using the cars. The CO2 emission is really high. It's among the highest. So compared to only the United Arab Emirates is higher, maybe because they have more cars, because women drive there. So this is the Saudi health system. In general, we have the governmental sector and the private sector. The governmental provides all sorts of healthcare on all levels. Everything, including dental, including optometric, glasses, things like that, which are considered complementary in other countries. Almost 60% governmental, private 21%, and other 19%. So what is going wrong in the KSA? In the name of royalty, KSA is a classical example of my land, my oil, my money. This is this is it. Ever since the discovery of oil, the royal family's fortune was growing. I will show you later on how WikiLeaks really exposed the royal family in Saudi Arabia. There are two things that are not regulated by law: expenditure from the GDP. One is everything that has to do with the Holy Mosque. If they need to renew anything, if they need to do something with the infrastructure, any additions, it's not regulated. They can pour the money at any level. And the second one is the strategic military expenditure. Those two things are the things that the royal family is earning its wealth from, which means that only because it's hidden, they can do that. And they do it very well. The royal family lives a lavish life. It is something that is really, really, I don't know how to describe it. Now, lack of workforce. Saudi Arabia was established, we said that in 1950, the Ministry of Health was established, and I told you that my father was there since the 68, so almost all of the workforce in these days was foreigners. The Saudis were illiterate, most of them. They did not go to schools. The schools were established by the people from Southeast Asia, from Lebanon, from Jordan, from Egypt, from Syria. And things are changing, of course. They have changed, but still they have lack of workforce. They bring a lot of workforce from Southeast Asia. People even who don't know Arabic, they communicate only in English. And we are talking about an illiterate population for the most part. The disclosure of data is really problematic. Sometimes even the WHO can't collect enough data. There's resistance toward changing. There was this case about 3 guys who made a film on YouTube about the poverty in the KSA, and they were jailed just for this reason. In 2000 there were 5 medical schools. By 2012, there were 21 med schools in Saudi Arabia. But the Saudis are not really interested in learning, in studying medicine. State-of-the-art equipment, they have the money. Whenever they hear about state-of-the-art equipment, they buy it, but there's not enough people who are qualified to operate it. So this was a real problem until 2011. Language barrier, as we said, no proper coordination. I mean, they have these over 300 hospitals. There's no proper, I'm not saying there's no coordination, but there's no proper coordination. There's no mechanism to make the system work more efficiently. Wages are really low. Until 2011, you could find someone who's cleaning in cleaning services. You could find someone and ask him what his wage, and he would say it would be 400 riyals. A riyal equals 1 shekel. So there were people who were living on 400 shekels a month. They had no insurances whatsoever. This was all exposed because of one man who was Saudi. He's called Ahmed Shqeri. He is a really open-minded man, well-educated. He made this, maybe it's globalization really. When Saudi Arabia was open to all this media and all this, when all the barriers went down, people were starting to see what's going on outside, and the curious people were starting to see what's going on inside this, kingdom of really rich people and oil. There's even amounts of oil that are not even disclosed in numbers in Saudi. So there were low wages, there was silence towards violation of basic human rights, and this is really a big issue in Saudi Arabia, but they try to hide it. They hide it really well. No man, no life. With this, I meant the widowed and the divorced. We know very well that a man, he's the sole provider of the family in Saudi Arabia, and we are talking about women who are or illiterate, or most of them are not educated. So when a man dies or he's disabled for any reason, it's over for the whole family. And we know that Saudis, they love to have children. They marry not one, not two, not three, but 4 wives for the most part. So it's a real problem. That's why poverty in such a country, it's such a shame that there's poverty. There are people who are really below the poverty line. The stateless. The stateless are the Bedouins who were, wandering around when the state was established, and they were trying to count how many in the population. Those stateless, they are not only in Saudi Arabia, they're also in Kuwait, in Qatar, and in Bahrain. Nobody wants to give them passports, so they were excluded from the healthcare until 2011, I will tell you why. This is only to show you that HIV, we have no data whatsoever. Poverty, we have no data whatsoever. So they really try. This is from the WHO. They hide it very well. Who knows this man? You have to know him, Professor.
The prince?
Obviously. He's Walid bin Talal. He's the richest Arab man. He's the richest Arab.
What's his name?
Walid bin Talal. He's a prince, of course, and he's the richest Arab man in the whole Arab world.
No wonder he's smiling.
Of course, why not? I mean, he is the richest man. And the top 10 are all Saudis. Only 3 of them are families who are not royalty. Only 3 of them. So this only explains how they are thieves, simply thieves. I'm biased, I know, but I'm not ashamed of it. Okay, just a fun fact so you can change your mood.
That's a great car.
Listen, this is diamond-studded Benz.
Wow.
This,
Maybe he could buy that for me.
he bought it, but not for you. It's worth $300 million. This is all Swarovski.
Wow.
Just a glimpse of their life. And this is where's King Ducato? Ducati? Yes, I don't understand anything about this thing, but it's custom made for him. It's worth $130 million. I don't think anybody can be that filthy rich from his own. I don't know. This is my understanding. This is called really. This is a yacht. There's a story for this yacht. This was called Nadia. This was made for a millionaire, a Saudi millionaire from Turkish descent. His name is Adnan Khashoggi. You know him?
No.
He's really rich, but he's an arm dealer. He's an arm dealer.
He's an arms
Arms dealer.
Yes.
Weapons.
Arms dealer. Yes. So it was made for him.
No.
Who buys it from him? Our president, your president, buys it from him. And then he goes bankrupt. He's about to go bankrupt. Trump, yes. Yes. And he calls her princess.
It looks like he has a
Okay? And he calls her princess, from Nadia to princess. Now, he's about to go bankrupt. In one of his times when he was about to go bankrupt, then Walid bin Talal buys it from him for, I think, a little more. He added $10 million and he bought it. And he called it 5KR, which is the initials of his children. This is one of the bedrooms in it. And it's
Collecting email addresses.
You have to contact them.
Hi, I'm Lisa.
If Davy was here
Oh my God.
yesterday, we were talking about, right there, Tegan, I don't know, it came up that she wants to marry a prince, or we were thinking that we might get her married to a prince. To get rich.
I will
Marry
marry
a
him
Saudi-
anyway.
Diego's ready to get married again.
Can anybody